Amy Thurman back again with 100 Days, 100 Emotions. We're on day 18 today. Isn't that exciting? Today we're talking about the feeling conflicted or the emotion conflicted. And I'm so excited for you to hear from my guest today. Oh my goodness, I have so much to share with you. We have so much to share with you today. So I want to jump right in. Excuse me. This is my LinkedIn coach, Karen Yankovich. Karen, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Amy, I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm so impressed with you with the 100 days of anything. So, good freaking like kudos to you. I'm sending you a high five across the country.
I'll take it. Thank you. So, we're talking about feeling conflicted today. Let me pull up the text first of all, and we'll
Yeah,
read that, and then
sure.
I'll tell you my little story. But this says feeling conflicted often generates a sense of inner turmoil and uncertainty, which can create confusion and lack of clarity about what you truly want or need. And then I added this little blurb: it makes you feel restless and you can have scattered thoughts. When we feel conflicted, oh, I know that feeling so well. I mean, so many of you watching, I know you know this feeling. We have felt this. A lot of us live in this state sometimes of conflicted. Should I do this? Should I do that? What's right for me? And I want to tell you that I told you Karen is my LinkedIn coach. And when I first met her, oh, the conflict that was going on within, like Karen, Karen, her program that I went through allows you to be like it totally changed my life. I don't know how else to say it. Like I went in with this measly view of myself, like I didn't really, and I almost didn't do your program, Karen, because at first I didn't feel like I was worthy of doing it. And I know you see that a lot,
I
probably.
do. I do. I do. I mean, and that's pretty much why we run the program for
Yeah.
that. And it takes guts. It takes guts and takes, courage to say, all right, I'm doing it. I'm stepping in.
Yeah, and it was an investment in myself that I have never ever done because I didn't find myself worthy enough to make an investment in myself. And
Yeah.
so I decided to go for it. And the way Karen does this, it totally changed my perspective about myself. Like she does these mindset Mondays and she really helps us see things from a different perspective, helped me see that I have more potential, that I'm able to do more. And I will say it's because of Karen's program that I am doing what I'm doing now. Otherwise, I still would have been in the background, feeling like this measly little person that really didn't amount to much or able to help people. And so I want to bring that to the forefront today. I have told a lot of you watching, I have shared Karen with you. I have told you all about her. Today you get to meet her and hear from her personally. So I'm so excited. I want to just jump right in and Karen, please share whatever you have to share
Yeah,
about
well, I guess
feeling
I
conflicted.
just want to first say that, like, when Amy and I talked about doing this, I I I know this is not an emotion, but I said, really what I see so much is imposter syndrome. And that's why we
Yeah.
decided this conflicted might be a good companion emotion to imposter syndrome. Because not Amy, you're not alone in that. And that's why we incorporate mindset into our program. Because so many women, like the things and like I also have a podcast called Good Girls Get Rich, right? And we're on like episode 250, so I forget sometimes to remind people what the title of the show really means. But what I really believe in my heart of heart is when we stay in our lane and do what we love to do and what we're good at, that's where the abundance comes into our world. But the problem with that is, especially for women, we think, well, if we're good at it, anybody can do it, right? So we don't really lean into that as if that's actually like a marketable skill or that we can be influential in that world. We think it's got to be hard, right? And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be hard. And that's why, the having the emotion of being conflicted about what do I do, like, talk about conflicted. Amy, when I published the first episode of Good Girls Get Rich, I was like, oh my gosh, like, can I do this? Can I really push? Can I really push it? Because I knew. And here's the thing: it wasn't the people I didn't know that I was worried about. It was people I did know that would be like, "Who is it that she's talking about? What is it?" Like my sister said to me, "I don't know where you grew up, but I feel like we grew up in two completely different places." Because I went back into like a little bit of the history, right? And
Yeah.
everybody has their own experience of life, right? But the reason for that is because there's so much we do this to ourselves, and we put ourselves in this place of being conflicted about things that it's typically the things that are for us, right? Like you probably wouldn't have been conflicted if it was for a loved one that needed, that had this opportunity and needed an investment, right? You'd be like, no, here you go, right? But when it's ourselves, we just torture ourselves sometimes with these emotions and with the conflict around that.
Oh, that's so, so true. Oh my goodness. I know so many of us watching experience that like firsthand. And you mentioned imposter syndrome, and some of you may not know what that is. You may not be familiar with that term. If you don't mind to explain that, Karen.
Sure. It's like when you know, and I want to make sure, I want to preface this by saying that I really want you to stay in authenticity. I'm not asking you to make stuff up, right? However, you've heard the things like dress for the job you want, or fake it till you make it kind of thing, right? None of those are necessarily bad things. It means you have to step out of your comfort zone and take that next step, even when you're not completely feeling comfortable with that, right? Like there's so many women that I work with that most of the women that I work with are not out of college. They're in their 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s, right? Which means they're coming to this place in their life with all kinds of expertise, right? They've got years of expertise, but maybe they're leaving corporate and now they're going to be a consultant, right? So they're like, now they're probably, like you can even know some of these people. Like we've got women in our program that have medical degrees, right? But now they're stepping into the role of coach, right? Or they're stepping into the role, like a different role than that. So they're and like maybe let's just use health coach as an example. You can pay $2,000 and get a health coach certification, and now you're a health coach, right? Yeah, it's the people in our program that have medical degrees that feel imposter syndrome around calling themselves a coach because they've never coached before, even though they have years of experience or expertise that they're bringing to the table, right? So that's what imposter syndrome is. Like you just don't feel like you're stepping into something, but you feel like a little bit like an imposter. And I have to tell you something. If you never, I'm going to say this, and I don't know if it's really fully true, but I think it is. If you never experience imposter syndrome, you're not pushing yourself far enough.
Oh, that's
Like,
good.
you're not pushing yourself
Yeah.
far enough. You're just like I don't, I feel like I'm quoting everybody all over the place today, but like
Okay.
the magic happens outside of your comfort zone. So when you get out of your comfort zone, that's when the magic happens, and that's sometimes imposter syndrome. Like we just don't feel like we are, we're saying this stuff, but we're easily triggered by people that say, well, who do you think you are? And we've got a lot of years of this, and that's why we incorporate so much mindset into the program, because I can give you all the strategy in the world, but if you're going to get knocked down and keep your energy here, you're never going to get there. Like if you need your energy and your ambitions to be aligned, right? So you need to step out of that conflict and kind of like take that next step when in your heart of hearts it's the right thing to do. And sometimes we're conflicted by things like, well, I could spend that money on, buying a new pair of shoes for my granddaughter, or I could, maybe I should invest that money because who knows what's going to happen with the market. And right. So sometimes we just talk ourselves into this crazy stuff, right?
Yes.
Don't talk yourself into the crazy stuff. There's no better investment in the world than investing in yourself. Right. So, which you did. And it's amazing that you did.
Yeah,
I love watching you shine. I love watching you do these videos and just show up. And it's been a whole lot of fun having you in my life.
Oh, you're so sweet. Oh my goodness. I remember having a conversation with you toward the beginning of our time working together, and I had booked an interview or a podcast interview with someone, and I messaged Karen and I was like, what am I doing? Like, what do I think I'm doing talking to this person? This is such a high ticket person. Do you remember that conversation?
I do remember that conversation. I was like, stop worrying about it. Don't worry about it. I forget what there was something else we had to do first. I'm like, we'll worry about that right before the show happens, but
right.
Yeah. And the only way to get better at that and to get over that imposter syndrome is to start doing it. And you know what? Like, I'm sure you've seen, and I'm talking to you, Amy, but also anybody else watching, right? I'm sure you've been sitting on your couch at some time and you're sitting watching some news show and they bring in some expert about something and you're like, really? I know more than that person knows, right? Like I know you've experienced that. I know everybody watching this has experienced that, right? It's just that person had the guts to get off their couch and do something about it, right? And because people aren't, Oprah's not going to come knocking on your door. You have to go looking for these opportunities. So that person who you probably are more expert than had, took that extra action step. Doesn't mean
Yes,
they're better than you. Just means they took that extra action step.
right. I have a good friend who is in sports medicine, and I keep trying to encourage her to share things behind the scenes, stuff that she knows. And she said, but it's it's boring. People won't be interested in that. And I just am like, you don't know that. Like, people are so interested in what you know, but she thinks it's boring because she knows so much about it. And
That's
that's pretty
exactly
much,
right. That's
yeah.
exactly right. We think that that's exactly at the heart of my podcast.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing the hard stuff, do the easy stuff, and build your life and your business around that. And you can, and you can. I remember I have a friend who is a really good cook, and I happen to be a really good cook, but I'm also busy, right? And I
You
love
are.
really good food, right? So I remember saying to her, I need you to just start cook. I will pay you to cook for me. She's like, that's ridiculous. Why, you don't need to pay me to cook for you? You know how to cook. I'm like, I know I know how to cook, but I'm willing to pay you to do it because I'm eating crap. I'm ordering a pizza on Monday and eating 2 slices every night for dinner till it's gone. Like,
Yeah.
but she just couldn't get out of her head that it was, and I was never going to let her do it for free. So it didn't happen,
Yeah.
because she
Yeah.
just couldn't get past the point of like, well, everybody knows how to do that. Well, what? It's not really that whether you know how to do it or not. It would benefit my life for me to be eating healthier and not spending a whole lot of time to get there, right? So instead, I
Yeah.
do things like whatever I do
Right.
to do that. So
Yeah, exactly.
it doesn't have to be that hard. It can be easy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think the hard part is seeing it from a different perspective, because it
Yeah.
comes easy to you, you don't see it. And so it's just finding that thing that is coming easy to you.
Yeah. Well,
I
you know what else I think, Amy? I
No,
think
go
too
ahead.
that when we have a decision to make that we're conflicted about, right? And we are as entrepreneurs, and I'll speak for myself here. And maybe some of you guys can relate to this. The people that are around me in my life are not entrepreneurs. My family are all teachers. My partner retired from NBC. Like, they have pensions and health benefits and all this stuff. I'm like I was born on the moon, right? Like they don't get it. It doesn't mean they don't love me and support me. But when I whine about health benefits in this, in the US, they're like, get a job. Go get a job that has health benefits, right? So you could say that I could be conflicted about this, but it's not that they just don't understand. What you need to do to get out of this conflicted state is surround yourself with people that get it.
Yes.
And then it makes it easier to make that decision. It doesn't mean either one is right or wrong. They don't get it. They just don't understand it. So expecting the people in your life, who are typically the people we go to when we say, should I wear the red dress or the blue dress, right?
Mhm.
When we say, should I go for it and try to get a speaking engagement, even though I've never done it before, they feel like they're helping us when they say, well, maybe you should take a class first. I heard about somebody that bought this book. Or where you're the people in our world, in our program, which is one of the reasons why I love them in our program, we're like holding your hand as you step across that line. You know what I mean? Let's do it. We're here with you. Let's step across that line together. So I think that it doesn't mean the conflict goes away, right? But it's just a way to feel more comfortable with those decisions when you surround yourself with people that really understand the decisions.
Oh, that's so good. And it leads right into the question that I have for us today. For all of you that are watching, excuse me, if you would like to join in our conversation, please feel free to leave your response to this question or to anything else you would like to pipe in with. But I would like to know how you resolve inner conflicts. Like, that happens to us all the time. Like, in this world that we live in, it's constantly happening to us. So I think this is something that we do without thinking about it because we do it so often. But like with me, when I have a conflict, I have to, and I say this a lot, tell myself what I know to be true. Like with your program, when I was questioning, what am I doing? What am I doing? Then I went back to, Karen has taught me what I need to know. I have the training. I have the knowledge to do this. I'm just scared to do it. And so it's bringing it back to what I know to be true. And then that helps me move forward. Is there anything you would like
Yeah.
to add to that?
It's interesting. I have, I would love to sit here and tell you that I really go in deep and trust my intuition on this stuff. And I'm not going to say that I don't trust my intuition, but I will say that I have a personal what am I going to call this, a personal something that I distrust in my own intuition, where I never quite know if it's impulse or intuition, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I do, there's a few, what I basically try to do is give myself time to make the decision and step back. And it's not even the time, but the space, like give myself space to make the decision, because, I've had a really busy life and it's been amazing. I've got 4 kids. I now have 5 grandkids, so it's amazing. But life is on autopilot a lot of times, right? So there's the autopilot answer, but then sometimes that's not always the right answer, right? So sometimes I need to turn the autopilot off and say, you know what? I need to feel into this and see if it feels right or not, and to me, that's pretty much how it does. And, the other thing, the older I get, the more I understand that I have to see what serves me. And, it doesn't make, I feel like I'm going to defend myself here, which I'm not, nobody's asking me to defend myself, but I'm feeling the need to. Like, it doesn't mean I'm not a good mom or a good grandmom, right? But it also means that, like, sometimes you got to put the boundaries up, right? You got to put the boundaries up and decide what's the right choice with this conflict for me. Because if I serve myself best first, I can better serve my kids and my grandkids and the people that are on my team and in my program, right?
Absolutely.
So that was a really hard lesson to learn for me, because I've just, and I think for a lot of women, because we're just really good at doing things for other people. And sometimes those inner conflicts are less around what you need to do for other people and more around what makes sense for you, or for my case anyway.
Oh, so good. So good. Dee is here. She says,
Yeah,
my people.
I see. That's awesome. Hi, Dee.
I love having Dee here. Okay. So if you have watched before, you know that I use an AI image generator to create an image that represents the feeling or the emotion of the day. So I ask it to create an image that represents the emotion of conflicted. So I'm going to bring that up. We're going to take a look at it and kind of analyze it for a minute. But I say this every time. It blows my mind how accurate this is, how this AI generator does this. I do not know, but it's pretty wild. So here is today's. Let me go full screen it here.
Wow.
I know. Cool. Look at that.
Gorgeous.
Talk about conflicted. Like, there are so many things in here. I'm just like, okay, the colors, first of all.
Right.
Like on the left, it's dark. On the right, it's lighter. There's kind of a light in the middle that's kind of pulling from all of the others. There's a stream down the middle, like you have to choose one or the other, with trees on the sides. So many things here that I think represent feeling conflicted. Is there anything else that you pull out of that, Karen?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's interesting because it's bringing in, like, I don't know, it looks like almost all the elements, right? So it's not like we're in one place. There's a lot going on there, right? So I almost want to say in some places, like in what I feel like is the closer to us part, it's a little bit more peaceful. And then as you get further away, it gets a little bit more chaotic. I just, it definitely embodies conflict, because I sit there and think, I don't want to be sitting on that I don't want to be sitting on the bank of that river.
Yeah,
that's
right.
really the place that I want to be sitting at for long.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. It's cool.
It is.
But it definitely feels like conflict to me. So that's
really
right. Cool.
I know it just baffles me every time. Like, how does it know to do this? But it's very accurate every time like that. Okay, so we're just about out of time. I do want you to tell them what you do and how to get in contact with you, because like I said, oh my goodness, all of the things, I will just say this, all of the things that have happened in my world in the last, we talked about this the other day, since April of this year, are a result of me going through Karen's program. And so you've seen me on these podcast interviews. You've seen me, maybe not yet, but there's a book coming out that I'm featured in with an Amazon Prime documentary attached to it, all kinds of other things. It's a result of what I learned through Karen's program and actually doing the work. It wasn't just sitting there learning, it was doing the work and putting it into practice. And so I would like for you to share some more about that, Karen, and how they can get
Yeah,
in touch with you.
yeah. Well, when for years I've been a marketing strategist, right? Digital marketing strategist. And I really did focus on LinkedIn. But once my podcast came out, and that's like probably 4 or 5 years ago now, I really saw the need for more women to be supported on LinkedIn. I do believe that LinkedIn is where wealthy women are made. And I feel like I can contribute to that. And when all this chaos goes on in the world, and I'm like, what can I do to help? You know what I can do to help? I can help more women have more money. Do you know what I mean? Because women
Yes.
with money can vote, they can donate, they can, so to me, that's how I feel like I can contribute to the world. So I shifted my focus of my entire business pretty much. Although I do work with men, I don't really care what your body parts are or how you identify. I just think women need to feel more included on LinkedIn. I'm not looking to exclude men, right? So I've shifted my entire business around to support women to feel included on LinkedIn. And a big part of that is the PR piece, because as you are, like we mentioned earlier, like a lot of these women may be coming from corporate and moving into their own entrepreneurial endeavors, or sometimes you're just looking at level up your income, right? But usually they're in some kind of transition. And when you have that imposter syndrome, when you're feeling conflicted about your pricing or saying that you're a coach, I know that one of the things that helps support you and also helps give you credibility is that PR piece, right? Are all those interviews that you did, Amy, right? When people look to hire you to support them with their stories and the work that you do, they're going to Google you and all those interviews are going to come up, right? And that's going to help you stay in your power, stand in your power, and stay in your power. So now what that's evolved into is this, beautiful 12-week program that helps women get really crystal clear on what their opportunities are, what they want to get out of this, where their wealth opportunities are, and then create a very custom designed strategy. Every one of our students has a different strategy to help them get there. And part of that strategy at the end of the 12 weeks, my goal for every one of our students is that they have at least one contract and at least one media hit. And now you know how to do it moving forward, right? Like we've taught you to fish. Now you can keep fishing on your own if you want to. We're still around to help you if you need us. But so that's really where this has evolved to. And we just recently came out with a quiz because I realized the importance of the unique strategies for so many of our students. I really didn't want to have like a something that we would give away to get people to know a little bit more about me. Like they can listen to my podcast, right? But I wanted something that really helped women identify how they can get started in a way that felt good to them. Some women want to do more, just meet more people. Other people are more analytical, right? So we've created a quiz to help you identify your marketing style and then how to take your first couple steps on LinkedIn, depending on which style you show up as. And because everything I do is really got a really, I try to keep a really sweet blend of right brain and left brain. We have all this, you'll get some tips for strategy, but you're also going to get some energetic tips, right? Like we've got, like my type is this lapis lazuli is the crystal associated with the type. So I've actually bought this and I've been wearing this to help kind of just lean into the strength of the marketing style that I have. We've created morning visualizations, like so many fun things, and it's all completely free at linkedinquiz.com, which I'm told in the last day or two doesn't always work. So if you can't get it at linkedinquiz.com, go to karenyankovich.com/quiz, or go to my LinkedIn profile, connect with me here, connect with me there. And you'll see in my featured section, there's a link to the quiz as well. And it's on my website as well. It's all over the place because it's brand new. So I would love for you guys to check that out. And hopefully it'll make you feel a little bit more comfortable taking your first few steps down the path of LinkedIn towards building a really profitable career.
Oh, so good. I will say I have taken the quiz probably 3 times now. And I get the same result every time, but it's so accurate.
Yeah.
I told Karen this, like, it's so accurate. How do you know me that well?
Oh, it's so interesting. I think we're the same style. You're an empowerer, right?
We are,
Yeah, we're
yes.
the same style. One of the things that, I have a commitment. If you guys are following me after this, I'm going, Amy's got her 100 days of emotions. I'm actually doing a consistent stream of live streams as well around marketing. And one of the things that I know, because I try to walk the talk, right, is I need to start my day off really with a strong mindset. So yesterday I sat in my like loft outside my office before I did my first one. So I'm like, it's the first one. I got to really move into this in a powerful, confident, with that radiating that powerful, that confident energy. And I'm like, I'm going to listen to the morning visualization that I created for the Empower. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, this is good. I'm like, I needed this. And I'm like, and I created it. Do you know what I mean? But I created 4 of them because there's 4 different types. And I was kind of all, we put a lot of work into this, but it was really interesting when I sat down yesterday for the first time and kind of, not for the first time that I heard it, but for the first time that I actually kind of leaned into it for my own use. I was like, wow, I needed that. I needed that. So it's been a lot of fun to create that quiz and to see how it helps people.
Oh, and you're able to even help yourself with it
I know,
too.
it was pretty funny. I was like, that's pretty funny that I'm looking at this going, wow, I like this visualization.
It's so good. Literally the whole quiz. And like it ends up giving you things that you need to work on, like things that may be a struggle for you and how to help in that area. And I was like, every one of those I struggle with. And so it gives you that too. So I found that really helpful.
Yeah.
Well.
I mean, listen, I'm a Jersey girl, so I'm not just going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to say, and that tendency to do this might cause too much of this. So let's keep an eye on that and make sure that we are adjusting our strategies accordingly. So
yeah.
You're going to hear what I think.
Yeah. And it's good. I love that. That's one of the things I love about you is that you don't sugarcoat it.
I'm glad to hear that. I mean, otherwise, what am I doing, right? What am I doing? So
exactly, right. Well, if you do reach out to Karen and end up signing up for her group, please let her know that you heard about her from our interview here. So that
I would ask people, how did you find me? But I would love, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, there's also a link there to book a call. If you want to talk about how you can get some help with this, just go to KarenYankovich.com/call, or on my featured section on my LinkedIn, there's a place to book a call. I would love to chat with you. And, if there's a conversation to be had, we'll talk about what that looks like. But either way, I think there's a lot of value in those calls. I love doing those calls. They're a lot of fun to get to know people and dive in a little.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's how you and I connected at first, was through that call. And I will say that you don't just take everyone. If you don't feel like they're a good fit, you're not just going to put them through the program.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am picky. And I'm not saying that like, don't book a call, because I don't like, here we are talking about confliction and imposter syndrome. And I'm saying I'm picky. I'm not going to, but I say that not because many times when I don't think somebody's a fit for the program, it's not oh, hell no, I don't want to work with this person. It's more of they're not ready yet. So I might give them like a couple of podcasts to listen to, or maybe a few tasks to do, and then say, let's talk again in a couple months. So it's typically more like, because I want, if you're going to invest in yourself, if I need to feel completely confident that I can help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, because it's not just about give me your money, go through the program.
And that's what I encourage you to do, everybody to do. Why would you want to work with people that you have to, drag through whatever?
Yeah. So good. Oh, I have loved this so much.
This has been so fun. I love watching you do these, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here. If you guys have found this helpful at all, or think it will help someone else, please share it. If you are interested in being a featured guest, I would love to have you. I still have a lot of space available for the rest of the emotions that are to come. So please reach out to me, either leave a comment or send me a message, and I will happily get you plugged in. Thank you guys for being here and for watching. And until tomorrow, I will see you later. Bye.